Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. It is Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021. Let's talk about betting scenarios for Super Bowl futures, right? The time to bet the Super Bowl isn't right before the Super Bowl. I believe the best time is now, when you actually can see the runway, when you can envision the pairings. But remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now let me just say it's extremely troubling. I'm not here to put a happy face on it. It is extremely troubling that Tampa Bay got shut out by the New Orleans Saints. Right? That's the kind of thing that, quite frankly, you need to pay attention to, because trust me, defensive stalwarts in this league, defensive coordinators, are going to look at that film. Right? Brady's a veteran quarterback. They already know what makes Tom Brady uneasy. Here you had Tampa laying an egg when they couldn't afford to. As I make this video, Tampa's 10-4, but understand the Green Bay Packers are 11-3. Tampa needed that win because, of course, Tampa wanted home field throughout the playoffs. Instead, they got embarrassed by a team that only scored 9 points. So I'm not here to say all is well in Tampa Bay. But what I am here to say, and this is even with Chris Godwin being out for the season, is that Tampa Bay has one of the easiest remaining schedules in the entire National Football League. Right, folks? Let's be blunt here. The Rams, 10-4. The Dallas Cowboys, 10-4. The Arizona Cardinals, 10-4. Don't have it as easy as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will get Antonio Brown back this week. Let's talk about what's easy. Tampa Bay plays Carolina in Carolina. Folks, that's a win. Right? Tampa, of course, has a top 10 defense. Carolina then plays the New York Jets in New York. Folks, that's a win, in my opinion. So, of course, they then have the 18th week of the season. Right? You have a longer season this year. And they get the opportunity to play the Carolina Panthers at home. Folks, those are their 3 remaining home games. Carolina twice and the New York Jets. Right, folks? I think Tampa is going to go into the postseason 13-4. The way to play this might not even be on a future, right? You're getting a plus 274 on Tampa Bay to win the conference. Not the Super Bowl, just the conference. Right? A plus 274. But that would include playoff games. Right here, you understand this team has an easy road to the playoffs no one else has in their position. What you might want to do is to circle these games. You might want to bet all of them. Right? I'm not sure Tampa Bay loses another game this season. Until, of course, they hit the postseason. And then if you believe they don't win the Super Bowl, then that game will be the next game Tampa Bay loses. Let's talk about Green Bay. Now, Green Bay's 11-3. Aaron Rodgers has a sensitive toe we've heard so much about. Right? But understand, Green Bay's catching at least 2 teams at the right time. They play at home next week. against Cleveland. Right? Cleveland's banged up. Cleveland's depleted. Right? Even at the quarterback position. Cleveland's had multiple quarterbacks not be able to play. Well, also Aaron Rodgers at home is big news. Understand, Aaron Rodgers is a little bit different than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's better on the road than Aaron Rodgers. A lot of Aaron Rodgers' legend is based on his ability to deliver at home. Don't get too carried away with last year's NFC Championship game. Rodgers at home is a juggernaut. He plays his next 2 games at home. The first is against Cleveland. The second is against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Vikings are problematical, right? They're not a team that puts people away. But you also understand there's a high variance on that team. They have talent, right? They can beat elite teams on certain Sundays. So that's really the dodgiest game that Green Bay has, because the last week of the season, they played Detroit in Detroit. Folks, Detroit's already won a couple of games. Detroit doesn't have to worry about going without a win. 0 for 17 this year. That monkey's already off their back. Right? So I believe Green Bay has a shot to sweep their last 3 games. Right? Because again, the first 2 are Rodgers at home, where he's Goliath. The last one is Detroit on the road. You need to understand what that means. It means that the Green Bay Packers, right now, have their destiny in their own hands. If they win these 3 games, Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit, they get the 1 seed in the NFC. If they keep winning in the playoffs, then the NFC Championship game would go through Green Bay. Now let me pause right here. These are the 2 teams, Tampa Bay, the defending champion, and Green Bay, the 2 teams that played in last year's NFC Championship game, who I feel you need to watch and have futures actions on. Right? These are the 2 teams that are best situated to come out of the NFC. The other teams have dodgy schedules. Right? Some of the other teams, Arizona notably, aren't playing that well right now. Right? So for me, Tampa and Green Bay, because of their schedules, because of where the games are played, are where your money should be. Let me also point out that if you don't like the odds you're getting, again, it's a plus 274 for Tampa to reach the Super Bowl. It's a plus 224 for Green Bay to win the Super Bowl. Then what you want to do is the next 2 weeks, knowing that Green Bay needs to win these games to keep the 1 seed in the NFC. In other words, a lot about what's going on in December is whether the team actually has something to play for. Green Bay does, because there are so many 10-4 teams, and Green Bay at 11-3 only has a slight advantage over them. You want to bet Green Bay the next 2 weeks, right? Against Cleveland, against Minnesota. The odds aren't going to be as skewed as they'll certainly be the last week of the season. Let's face it, too. If enough teams fall off and Green Bay has the tiebreaker, well, Green Bay might not need that last game of the season. So if you're looking for motivated teams with something to play for, the next 2 weeks you want to bet on, or at least give a hard look at, Tampa Bay. They're playing at Carolina and at New Jersey, right, against the Jets, and the Green Bay Packers. They're playing at home against Cleveland and against Minnesota. Now let's talk about the problems with some of these media darling teams. These teams have a lot of talent. These teams are well coached. But you understand these teams face adversity. The Indianapolis Colts. Hey, I love this team. I think the team has put together quite a run. Understand they're 8-6. Right? This is a different set of probabilities compared to Green Bay at 11-3 and Tampa at 10-4. Right? With those teams, we're talking about hosting playoff games. With Indy, it's dodgy. So Indy's 8-6. Here's the problem. This week, Indy has to play Arizona in Arizona. Right? Think about it. Understand, Arizona is so perilously positioned right now that they're not the only 10-4 team in their division. The Rams are 10-4. Right? So Indy has to play Arizona in Arizona. Then they get to fly home to play an enigmatic Las Vegas Raider team. Right, folks? I'm just telling you, the Las Vegas Raiders are up and down. You catch them the wrong week, you are in trouble. Right? So, all I'm saying is just understand, Indy has a rough road. They don't have the Aaron Rodgers back-to-back home games against winnable teams, teams with more losses than them. Right? No, Indy's playing a 10-win Arizona team in Arizona this week. That's a problem. Let's talk about another enigmatic team. The Los Angeles Chargers. Folks, here again, they're 8-6. Right? That's what they are. They're not 11-3. They're not 10-4. They're 8-6. Now, they do play what seems to be a layup game this coming week at Houston. Right? The Texans aren't that good. They're thinking about next year, who can play. They're starting a lot of young guys. The week after that, they get to be home, if you think the Chargers have a home arena. But they're playing the Denver Broncos. Now, Denver is troublesome. Their defense is troublesome. This is one of those teams, and keep in mind, Denver's 500 right now. This is one of those teams where the defense can rise up and give you a problem. Let me say this too. Teddy Bridgewater has been a master at covering the point spread on the road. Finally, the Chargers finished the season on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders, another team that's up and down. Let's just say this schedule is much more complicated than the one Tom Brady faces. Again, with Brady, it's at Carolina, at the New York Jets, at home against Carolina. That's what Brady's facing. Right? The Chargers, it's at Houston, then, at home against Denver, then on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. And, of course, Tom Brady's team already has 10 wins. The Chargers only have 8 wins. So, just betting strategy-wise, because Tampa Bay has a lot to play for, because Aaron Rodgers and the 11-win Green Bay Packers have a lot to play for, and because they're in winnable games, those are the games I'm targeting the next 2 weeks. Tampa at Carolina, Tampa at the New York Jets. Right? Yeah, I'm going to be laying a lot on the money line. Right? Odds-wise. Right? Not points, because that'd be the point spread. But understand, Tampa's one of the best teams in the league. You need to overlook their recent stumble against the Saints. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers. Right? Green Bay gave away the NFC last year. What more did they need? They had the NFC Championship game at home. I believe they want revenge. They have the jump on everyone in the NFC. They have their destiny in their own hands. Green Bay against Cleveland. I'm taking Green Bay on a money line in that game. Game's in Green Bay. Green Bay against Minnesota. I know Minnesota is troublesome. I'm taking Green Bay over Minnesota in that game. Then, of course, the last game of the season, Green Bay at Detroit. I'll take Green Bay. Let's talk about one more interesting team. Because some of these teams in the hunt for the playoffs aren't obvious. The Saints. Right? They're a plus 125 simply to make the playoffs. Folks, you're talking about an elite defense, as Tom Brady knows. Tom Brady, who just got shut out by them. They have a relatively easy schedule. Right? They're at home the next two games. They play the Miami Dolphins in their next game. I know Miami has been winning games of late. Miami doesn't have the talent that the Saints have. Right? Certainly Miami doesn't have a unit as great as the Saints' defense. And of course, Miami's an outdoor team. The Saints play their home games indoors. There's a lack of familiarity. Miami doesn't go to New Orleans every year. They're in a different conference. I like the Saints on a money line over the Dolphins. Right? Understand, the Saints have a lot to play for. The Saints are in the playoff hunt right now. Right? They're 7-7 right now. Then, of course, the Saints play at home. They get to sleep in their own beds. They get to be with their families. You know, they get to be at home 2 weeks from now, right? You know, next two games are both at home. 2 weeks from now, they get to play the Carolina Panthers. Now, you know what I think about Carolina because I'm here telling you that Tampa Bay has two layup games against Carolina going forward. Well, guess what? The Saints get to play Carolina in the second game of the next three games. Now, the last game is a hold-your-hat game. The Saints have to travel to play the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Right? But understand, by then, you should have won the next 2 weeks. New Orleans versus Miami, then New Orleans versus Carolina. So, just to put things in perspective, as much as I like the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals, right, each winners of at least 10 games, as much as I like them, they don't have the clear path to success that Tampa Bay has or that the Green Bay Packers have. Right now, if Green Bay wins out, these teams, the warm weather Rams, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, would have to go through Green Bay to win the NFC. Right? Think about it. So, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about which team is better. That's the wrong question. It's not which team is better. It's which team has the jump right now. Who's better positioned? Folks, it's the 11-win team that gets to stay at home the next 2 weeks and that gets to play Detroit the last week of the season. The Rams don't have that. The Dallas Cowboys don't have that. The Arizona Cardinals don't have that. Right? Tom Brady's also in the catbird seat. Right? They only have to play the Panthers home and away and the Jets away over the next 3 weeks. Those are the teams where I'm focusing my bets right now. That's how I see it. Let me also just add, as good as the Colts are, and they're better than advertised. Frank Reich is doing a great job as head coach. Right? I don't like it that they only have 8 wins right now, and their next game is against 10-win Arizona in Arizona. They could easily be 8-7. And of course, the Chargers, let's face it, teams like Denver, teams like the Las Vegas Raiders have high ceilings. Right? These are pesky teams that can beat good teams on any given Sunday. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be betting on Tampa and on Green Bay. Right? I'll concede the last week of the season, there'll be some gamesmanship on who these teams start. Right? But Tampa and Green Bay, because of their remaining schedules, because of where they are right now, are better positioned than the Rams, Dallas, Arizona in the NFC. That's how I see it. I look forward to your comments in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.